Say hello to my little friend. His name is David Ayer. I'm Sasha Pearl-Raver, and this is Screen Junkies News. We first met Scarface in 1932, and then we got him once more in 1983. Remember Al Pacino? But now we are getting a brand new Scarface, and he might be brought to you by the director of Suicide Squad, David Ayer. The Coen brothers were brought in to do a script polish, and Anton Fuqua was originally slated to direct, but he had to drop out to direct the Equalizer sequel starring Denzel. You don't need the last name. You know who we're talking about. Well, here with me to tell us if they think this is a good idea or a bad idea is a Scarface Suicide Squad of one, Jay Washington.
Hi.
Hi.
Bad idea. Don't even ask me the question.
Thanks for being here on Screen Junkies News.
It's you know what? This movie, you know what? It's been touted around for a while of a reboot to Scarface.
Right.
It's been touted for years. There was even a point where they were talking about doing a sequel where it was Scarface's kid. You know, but then they said, okay, we're just going to do a reboot. But now to hear it's David Ayer, I'm like, David Ayer's track record doesn't say this iconic character.
Hold the phone. I will defend David Ayer because David Ayer wrote some really good scripts. He did. Street Kings, I really enjoyed.
Writing scripts and directing film.
End of Watch is a super underrated movie. I love End of Watch. Fury is a really progressive, interesting, different take on a war film.
Okay.
I have issues with Suicide Squad, but I didn't hate it. I like Suicide Squad. The truth is out of the more recent DCEU films, Suicide Squad is one of the ones I probably like the most. You can roll your eyes at me.
You're an army of one on that one.
I will be an army of one. I'm cool with that.
I guess I don't see. It's the combination of saying David Ayer and the Coen brothers. That combination together just doesn't warrant this franchise. Doesn't warrant Scarface. It's also is going to be hard to tackle the iconic character. You know, the iconic what Al Pacino did for this role.
Sure.
It's going to be hard to match that no matter who you put in the director's chair, no matter what.
Well, but the thing that I want people to remember is Scarface, the one that we all know, the one that is hanging on every college dorm, that's a remake in and of itself.
Yeah, it's a remake in and of itself. So, you know, a lot of people just think this is the original version when you see that, and it's not. No, like you said in the opening, 1932 original. But we forgot about that, and then Al Pacino reinvented it with the world's worst Latino accent to be a Cuban and be an Italian. And
I don't know. I saw a preview for a movie, and there's one that's coming out in August that is worse. I will tell you about it when it comes out. If you guys know what it is, I'll tell you in August. But go ahead.
So it was, you know, but the accent aside, it was what he brought to that character. And it was so iconic. Again, it's quoted so much. It's brought up in various other films. And to now have this combination of the Coen brothers, I believe it's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, some other films.
Well, the Coen brothers, the thing I actually love about the Coen brothers is a lot of their movies are pitch black comedies. Like True Grit is actually just a very, very dark comedy parading as a Western. I adore their writing, and they actually do grisly violence in a great way. And they're able to develop really interesting, incredibly memorable characters. I think that the truth is the Coen brothers make sense for this. Again,
are you cool with the Coen brothers? I don't care. I'm fine with that. I'm 100% on board with that. I know what you're talking about visually, and what they put together is amazing. David Ayer is at the director. You want to have that behind that.
I'm okay with David Ayer because I think that if you take End of Watch and Fury, you have visceral action. Okay. You have more interesting POVs and things that maybe are characters that you wouldn't expect to see portrayed in the light that they are. And I think you have people who are anti-heroes and people who are heroes who then become the victim. And now those are all things you need to see with Scarface.
Let me ask, I was going to ask you this. What are your thoughts on the Scarface remake that we know of Al Pacino? What are your thoughts on that film?
I love the movie. And let's not forget, it's not just Al Pacino. Michelle Pfeiffer is amazing.
We pronounce our P's around here. We pronounce our P's.
That's right. I love Michelle Pfeiffer.
Some Pfeiffers.
She's the bomb in that movie.
Right,
like,
she is.
That is like, I mean, before I knew what they were snorting when I saw it as a kid, I was like, I want to be like that when I grow up. And then I was like, oh, no, I don't.
I want a convertible with tiger skin on the seats.
I saw that dress and that super sleek haircut.
So you remember how that film holds. It's still people still watch it again. College students get introduced to it.
It's Oliver Stone. It's Brian De Palma.
Yes.
It's Michelle Pfeiffer. It's I mean Al Pacino.
Robert Loggia. It's
Robert Loggia.
It's a Robert Loggia.
It's a Robert Loggia film.
It's Robert Loggia. But it's a whole. It's iconic, and that's the problem with iconic films when you try to reboot them, because there's a bar set for it.
Yes.
And initially when Scarface came out, I don't think everybody thought much of it, but now it's become that cult classic where the bar is so high for it. And you have a director like David Ayer who, granted, he has some good work behind his name.
David Ayer was supposed to next go on to the Harley Quinn standalone movie, and that already has a slated release for August of 2018. So I'm wondering if this will happen after the Harley Quinn film, or if Harley Quinn maybe is going to be pushed back, in which case I hope they're pushing it because of a script thing as opposed to anything else.
Pushing Harley back?
Yeah, because I loved her, and I think that she was probably the best part of the movie. So I wonder, like, does Scarface come first? Does Harley come first?
See, and that's the talk of the whole Gotham City Sirens movie, which you're talking about, the spinoff movie. The whole Gotham City Sirens movie, there's not even been a full cast announced for that.
Right.
We only have Margot Robbie just attached to it. That's it. And David Ayer. That's all we have. So of course, if he's gonna, if Scarface is like they said, slated for August 2018, then this has to get pushed back. Sure. That Gotham City Sirens has to get pushed back because again, that Gotham City Sirens is in the DCEU.
Right.
It's a part of this bigger universe. Scarface is Scarface on its own. If you're rebooting it and you're not doing anything else with it, you got to take your time with a property like this.
Now that it is David Ayer and Diego Luna, how do you feel about that?
Well, Diego Luna was saying he was going to do it when it was Fuqua, but he don't know if he's going to stay on when it's David Ayer.
That's true.
So, because a lot of actors, when they hear the initial director, when a project is brought to them, they're like, "Oh, it's this director I get to work with. Cool, I'm on board."
Right.
But then the director switches, and the actor is like, "Well, I'm not familiar, or I don't like their work." So you don't have to, you don't stay with that same original choice.
So, if somebody were to replace Diego Luna, if he drops out, who would you like to see step up?
I would go with Guillermo Diaz. He played Huck on Scandal. He looks the age they want to go for, unless they're going to the same age range that Al Pacino played, the mid-30s look. I don't know if they're going to go a younger version of Scarface. But if they go that Guillermo Diaz or Conrad Recorma from How to Get Away with Murder, you're going to use people like that who look and they fit in that role and what you want to get from it. So
one of the things that supposedly is going to happen with this movie is they've moved the setting from Miami to Los Angeles, which I think is interesting, and also why I thought Anton Fuqua made a lot of sense, because Training Day for me really captures LA in a very unique way, but End of Watch does that too. I wonder, because of the relationship he has with Michael Pena from End of Watch, if Michael Pena could step into this role, because Michael Pena is an amazing actor.
Yes, he is.
I don't know if he's
serious enough,
gritty enough.
Yeah, gritty. Mike, that's the only problem. We're seeing Michael Pena. Ant-Man opened up that door to where we're seeing him now in such a comedic light. Right. You got him in Ant-Man, Chips, and all these other different things. But he was also in Crash, and that was like a very dramatic turn. It was a very dramatic movie, but we're looking at him now. Can we see him as gritty as it needs to be a Tony Montana? To be as gritty and as dark as a character has to play to be this Scarface character. Because if we're even going to go reboot, now you want to know what the script is going to be like. Are they going to follow what the script was initially from the '83 film? Where you have you change it from, again, Miami to Los Angeles. He becomes a drug kingpin, a drug overlord, and then he has run-ins with Colombians or any other type of drug cartel from another country, and you have all that. Will Michael Pena deliver that type of role you need? And also, if it's in Los Angeles, what's the drug? Is it current day? Is it in the past? That's the thing. It's kind of hard. There's a lot of stuff that's when you switch locations, it makes it difficult, because it's like Miami made sense because of everything. Miami, him being Cuban, everything worked and it fell in line. It's hard because, again, are you going to change the nationality of Tony Montana? Are you going to change origin stories? Are you going to do so much different? Because the origin is in the '83 version that we all know. The origin of how he was a Cuban immigrant. He went into the Cuban detention camps under the freeways in Miami. Yeah. He fought to get it. He killed a political refugee, I believe it was, to get his green card and everything. Then he ended up working for a drug lord from Robert Loggia on a low level and worked his way up. Are you going to change all that going into a reboot? You see what I'm saying? If you shift the cities from Miami to Los Angeles, you have to do a lot of augmenting. And again, the Coen brothers can do it, but it's like, okay, how do you sell this story now?
I don't know, but I do know that our producer, Jordan, came up with the idea of Jorge Garcia from Lost being Scarface, and that's a whole other reboot that I don't feel any of us
It's a whole other movie.
are prepared for.
I don't know if we can do that, Joe.
But if it is a David Ayer movie, who would you like to see in the main role? Are you excited about this? Does it make you as nervous as apparently it makes Jay?
Makes me super nervous.
And what sort of plot could you see?
What does Diddy think about this?
What? Puffy?
Sean,
whatever
please.
we're calling you these days.
P. Diddy?
Let us know in the comments below. Tweet us at SJ News. Make sure to like and subscribe. Of course, you can always click here for more Screen Junkies news, and we will see you very soon.